Alright class, we're going to walk through setting up your forensic lab. We're going to do Windows 10 and the SIFT workstation. So the first thing for the SIFT workstation is to get the software for the SIFT workstation. So you'll go to the link in the classroom, right? And then you'll end up at this page. You'll click here, and it's going to ask you to log in. If you don't have a login, then you just join the SANS community and create a login. I already have a login, so I log in. Okay, and I'm going to download the OVA, and then that's going to download. You'll know that it's going to take a few minutes, so I'll pause while we download it, and then once the download is complete, we can move on. Now, before I do the pause though, we do want to set up for Windows 7 as well. You should have the Azure page. I think I published it already. I'll publish it with this link though as well to get the Windows 10 software if you don't have it already. You may have it from previous class. If you do, you can certainly use that. If you don't, you'll just click here on software. You'll click Windows, you'll type in Windows 10. It'll come up with a bunch of options. We want the education version 1809. We'll click download, and it will download. And okay, while those two download, I will pause the video and we'll come back to this in a moment. And we'll need to set up, like I said, we'll have to set them both up. So, all right. So now that the software has had a chance to download, we can begin our installations. I do want to just mention here, if you don't have VMware Workstation already, I would presume most of you would from previous classes, but if for some reason you don't, I'll put the link in the same post, but you can go to the CSET page, which you should have access to, especially I would think in this 300 level class. But if you don't, again, we can get that. You just have to request it. Hit sign in, search for VMware Workstation. All right, it'll come up. I've already gotten it, so I can't get it again, but you just go down to the VMware Workstation Pro 16 and you hit add to cart, and then you can download it from there and then install it. It's pretty straightforward on the install. There's really no tricks to it. So once you have it installed, we'll start with the SIFT workstation because it's the easiest. We're going to do open, and we'll go to the downloads. All right, take the OVA file. We're just going to straight import it. Now you can do that a couple of different ways, right? You could have moved that workstation to a different directory first if you wanted all your workstations in a particular place, or depending on the organization of your hard drive. For me, it doesn't really matter. I'm good just putting it there. So it's pretty straightforward. You do that, and then once it's done importing, we can move on to the Windows 7. Okay, and that's it. So it's all imported. I'm just going to turn it on so you can see how to log into it. We're not going to do anything with it right now. In this video, I just wanted to show you how to set up the workstations, get everything running and installed, and then we can. I'll do a second video in the next little while here that has the first few assignments in it. All right, well, while that boots up for the first time, let's make our Windows 7 or Windows 10, Windows 10 workstation real quick. If you already have a virtual machine built for Windows 10, no need to build a new one. You can just use the one you already have. We're going to select new virtual machine. We're going to say typical because we want the fast install. We're going to browse. We're going to go to our downloads. And we're going to find the Windows 10 Consumer Edition. And we're just going to hit next. We're going to insert the key here from Azure. I've left Azure. Here's the Azure page again. We're going to just type in Windows 10 again, Windows 10. We're going to go down to the education version, and we're going to go view key. Okay, and there's the product key. We're just going to copy that product key. We're going to go back to here with Control V to put it in there. It really doesn't matter which version you get. Education is fine. Put in your name. Put in a password. The main goal here is to build a workstation that doesn't require a bunch of other software to be installed, right? So we want to make this as easy as we can, so you can focus on the tasks at hand and not the installing software kind of stuff. Okay, so we'll just hit finish. It's going to create the disk and it's going to start its work. Okay, you can see it's going to start installing. We'll let it install. This is back to the SIFT workstation. I'll just show you how to log on real quick. Like I said, we're not going to do anything for right now. I'll show you that in the first assignments walkthrough. But from the SIFT web page now, they should have it has the login and password here. Right. And so the trick here is with the SIFT workstation, one of the reasons I don't recommend students build this themselves, because you can build an Ubuntu workstation, an Ubuntu server, and then put this on top of it. The problem is that their update doesn't work with the current, called the LTS, the limited distribution. So limited support distribution. So they work with the older version, 16.0.4, which is quite old, about 3 versions old now. So it's easier if you just install this file. So we're going to do the forensics. Okay. And like I said, we're not going to do anything else with this for right now. We're just going to install the Windows 7, again, the Windows 10 workstation. And once we get the Windows 10 workstation installed, we're going to install the Access Data FTK, and then we're going to be done with this portion of the with this video. Just going to get you set up for the term ahead, not actually do any assignments in this particular video. Okay, I'm going to pause again while it continues to do the install. And then we'll come back to this when we're ready to take some action. Okay, so it's booted up now. So we're going to log in and, like I said, just install the one thing. I did want to make note that the reason that I would have you do this VM is so that you don't have to install the software on your personal workstation, right? And you can instead do the work on this dedicated workstation and keep all this stuff in one place, and then have to worry a little less about installing and uninstalling and moving software and doing this and all that stuff. So it's your preference, of course. You don't have to make this workstation. You could do it any way you'd like. Okay, you're going to log in the first time. It's probably going to install VMware tools, so it might have done that in the background. just look at it. And what we're looking for here is we're just looking to see if the VMware tool is installed. Okay, it was. That's essentially going to be what creates a lot of the drivers and the interfaces. So we want to make sure that that's installed. Otherwise it gets to be a little bit funny. Okay, so that's installed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to, I'm going to post this link as well. We're going to go to my Google Drive where I've put the Access FTK already, and we're going to just download that. All right, so we're going to download it. Okay, and the reason I put it there is just so you don't have to create a login at the Access Data FTK people or put your email in or anything. You can just kind of use this as a software instead of having to go through quite as much of the work. So we're going to take that here. It should be in the downloads. Yeah, here we go. We're going to put that onto our workstation. And you can just literally just copy it in there. All right. We'll just paste it on there. Okay, and then we're just going to run it. It's pretty straightforward. There's a number of ways to use this program, right? You don't need to install it. You can put the actual executable on a thumb drive if you wanted to, and that'd be particularly useful if you had a suspect system you didn't want to copy any software onto because you don't want to ruin the image or anything. But in this case, we're not really worried about that quite that level of detail. So we're just going to install it, and then that will do it for the lab setup. And like I said, I'll make another video on the first assignments. Okay, so FTK is installed. The SIFT workstation is installed and running. Windows 7 is up and running. So we're good for now. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Please let me know if you have questions or comments. I'll post this in the questions to instructor form, and then I'll post the links to the softwares that I put on here. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and best of luck. Goodbye.